Once again, it's time to open your ears and expand your mind. Or maybe it's dull your mind. Either way, I think these boys have something to say. So sit back, grab a brew, we're going to have some too, and give you our point of view here on Talkin' Brap.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome back. Talkin' Brap. Season 2, episode 8. So we've done it. We've done as many episodes as we did last year.
Wow.
Yeah. We're pushing hard this year. So episode 8. So we're doing a little something different this time. So last night, I did an interview with a professional freestyle rider in India. So the time difference is quite extreme, from here to there. So I had to do it late at night.
If you listen to the last episode, he tried to replace us. And it didn't work.
Did. So I had lined up some of the stunt guys, as we call it here, stunt. They like to say freestyle, but the stunt guys that I ride with on Fridays, they wanted to come out and be a part of it, so I had geared everything up for that, and of course they all bailed. So it ended up being just me, and I have it recorded. We're going to listen to it tonight. It's the guy's super cool, and we kind of connected on LinkedIn and started talking to each other, and I was like, man, I really want to get you on the show.
Now, having not heard any of this, what does the guy ride?
Motorcycles.
Yes,
Ooh,
he prefers motorcycles.
It's good to know. It has a motor, right?
Technically, he called me from the future. So this is the first time this happened. So
that's
last
wild.
night at 9:30 Central Time, it was on the 22nd. It was 7:30 in the morning on the 23rd.
Yeah, the next day.
So
Yeah.
he called me from the future.
Hey, tell him to give you some fucking stock tips, man.
Had Wild Stallions already been formed, and have they taken over the world when he called, or is this like were they still up and coming?
No, it was only one day in the future.
Oh,
so yeah.
Okay.
I know. I was trying to get some lottery ticket numbers or something out of them. I just,
so
it was hard.
Rufus hasn't come back.
Yeah, Rufus hasn't come back yet.
All right.
In his telephone booth, I think it was, right? Yeah.
I know it's coming.
It's coming. Bill and Ted are going to come back in a fucking telephone booth. And rock on, dude.
They're making another one.
I know. I heard that. Yeah. I'd love to see it. I love Bill and Ted.
I know.
I used to love that movie back in the day. So, anyways, I hooked up with the guy and we started talking. I said, man, I want to get you on the show. The idea was I was trying to get some other stunt guys, like I said, and kind of talk more about that side. Because I don't have that experience, I'm not
a
stunt
with us.
rider.
Like stunt, like Evel Knievel stunt, or like Sea Bear stunts?
Sea Bear stunts, D-Lo stunts, Dale K, all these guys.
Yeah.
Here they're really referred to the wheelies and stoppies and all that shit is stunting.
On big bikes.
On any bike. Sport
Sweet.
bikes,
What
Harleys,
does,
whatever.
I don't understand that.
I always forget to do this. So tonight it's me, Mike, Aaron. These are familiar voices. Woody's been on before.
In the background.
Like I said, my thought process when setting it all up was to get some stunt guys from halfway around the world and get them talking to each other. It didn't work out, so I did the basic interviews and stuff, and I had sent him some questions that he prepared for. Kind of, I guess you would say. He knew what was coming, and we rolled through it. I got about 20 minutes of interview there, so I figure we'll listen to some of it, maybe talk about it a little bit. And he was super nice guy, and I don't know if it all made it in the recording.
Was he touring? Is that his gig?
He does. He was posting stuff the other day about filming a commercial. And so he had some like oil products or something sitting on the ground, and he was riding up on his bike, doing a stoppie, bringing the ass end around, dropping it next to him, hopping off the bike. You know what I mean? I joked with him when I first called him, and I cut that out, but I was like, all right, man, first thing we have to do is how do you say your name? Because I am a white American, and white Americans are notoriously bad at any name that's not like John Smith. So, and it's true, white Americans are horrible at pronouncing anything in any other language. So, I'll take one too. So, he was super appreciative, and he's young. He's 25. So, like I was saying, I was talking with this guy last night. I'm going to go ahead and start the interview. And I'm going to stop it, and we'll talk about it.
So how do you want to do
there.
this? Like, I'm sure you're going to edit this part out. Do you want us to comment through, or are you going to start and
We'll
stop?
listen to it, and I'll stop it, and we can talk about it.
I want to ask him questions.
I wish we could.
Oh, we can do that.
If it wasn't for time frame, I know the hours we work. And for us to get together and do something at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night is asking a lot. You know what I mean? For the hours we work. So,
I'm really drunk.
but I'm going to go ahead and give this hell, and we're going to let it play for a second. Huh? Yeah, and he starts out with a pretty good introduction. I cut it down pretty good. So,
hello, US. Namaste to everyone. My name is Rohitesh Upadhyay, and I come from a small town by the name of Udaipur, Rajasthan in India. I have been a professional sport bike freestyle rider since 2012. And firstly, I want to express that I'm really grateful for this exchange. It's an honor for me to speak to some like-minded people from the same field on such a platform.
I feel the same way, So, a lot of my listeners, they know me. And I don't know how much on my side, but I am a Harley Master Tech, and I've been riding my whole life, and now I don't do the freestyle riding like the wheelies and things like that much. I'm kind of more of just a hard rider.
You are a tech person. You are a tech person, I think.
Yeah, I end up being the camera guy a lot. But it's so much fun to watch and things like that. So I think you and I hooked up on LinkedIn first. We both have quite a few followers on there, and I started following you now for the last, a few months, however long it's been. And I've really been impressed with, all the content and all the things you're doing. I see you posting pictures of riding with people, and everything just feels so familiar. You know what I mean? Of everything you got going on. So, we start out, riding around, and then everybody kind of develops into their own rider, and what they like to do. And so, what really got you into riding? What really brought you into the motorcycle, side of things?
First of all, my friend, India was never really a biggie in terms of motorsports. In fact, even now it isn't, right?
Yeah.
Motocross, MotoGP, and everything else was absolutely new back then.
Yeah.
And still is pretty much alien to everyone as a concept of sport, right? So first of all, I am a 90s guy. So back then in 90s, ESPN channel and some of the sports channel hosted these motocross international events. It was the first time then when I saw a few riders doing wheelies. Of course, I hadn't seen actors doing wheelies in movies before, but I knew they were staged. Seeing wheelies on a sports channel meant it was done by really skilled people, which I guess developed a zeal in me to try it.
Yeah.
Also, I came across legends as Chris Pfeiffer from Germany and Jorian Ponomarev from France,
Okay.
who then were revolutionizing the sport to another level.
Yeah.
That actually oriented me to possibility of something like this can be a career too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's something that's very interesting. What he's talking about there is, he had found a guy in Germany, a guy in France, just doing all this new stuff, and coming from India, anywhere, it doesn't really matter where you're from. The possibility of riding or stunting or freestyling, whatever, your motorcycle as a job.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Totally a very
early
rare
on,
thought.
he was like, "This is what I am going to do."
Yeah.
Period.
So he got exposed to this, and it even today, if I could get paid to like fuck around on my motorcycle, fuck yes, dude, that is the dream job, right? So we'll keep going here. Hold on. So what does it mean to be a professional, freestyle rider? So what does that mean? Do you do out and go do shows a lot? I mean, I've seen you recording some commercials and things like that.
Yeah. First of all, professional freestyle riding from my end, I think we call it sport bike freestyle riding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We lost it. Houston, we have a problem.
Apparently, I have a gap there.
Like freestyle riding is a very dear part of my life. I would say.
Okay, so the reason there's a gap there, and I forgot about this, I thought I left something in there. We had a connection issue, and we had to restart the call. He did a pretty good job of jumping back into it, but we did have a connection issue, which is not surprising, being on opposite sides of the earth and trying to do something over Skype. So we did, and that's where it starts back up. Is I edited a lot of the hello, are you there? Can I hear you? Can I hear you? All of that I edited it out because it was kind of silly. But yeah, he jumped back into it and really kind of grabbed what he was talking about pretty quickly. So we'll go back in.
I was in my molding years when professional freestyle riding got associated me at the personal level. Mm-hmm. My family experiencing some lows, and those were some gloomy days for me.
Yeah.
Personally, on my front too, I was a bit down because of some issues where I felt I would run into depression soon. When I used to feel on my lowest, I used to just pick up my motorcycle and just pulling off wheelies. At the initial stage, wheelie were just my venting out in frustration of everything that was going in life. But after a while, my mind on its own start focusing on the skills. By now, SFR, sport bike freestyle riding, was pretty much a getaway from my problems. This then started converting into regime and then a meditation. The best thing, I was never gave up SFR, sport bike freestyle riding. I must have fallen 100 times while practicing.
Oh, yeah.
But me getting up to do a trick again until it is perfect, in spite of weather conditions, injuries, motorcycle problems, fighting against low morale and personal demon, taught me how I'm supposed to deal with it, life itself.
Yes.
You ride, you fall, and you get up, and you just ride again. This is what life is all about.
Yeah.
And I believe this is what made me headstrong and also honed my skills to the another level that I could pursue my career as professional rider from one of the smaller town in India.
Yeah. So, I had a couple guys lined up to be with me here tonight, and they couldn't make it. And I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff we've been doing on Instagram, but I ride with a bunch of guys that we like to call it stunt riding, freestyle riding, however you want to put it. But we go out on Friday nights, and that's how we blow off steam. That's our, like you said, that's our therapy. That's how we kind of calm ourselves down and get to where we want to be. And we go rip around downtown.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we don't have a culture of motorcycle culture, right? USA have, Brazil have a motorcycle culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
This
is pure transportation there, right?
Right, in 90s in India.
Yeah.
So big thank you for USA for this sport.
Right. Yeah. Well, you guys, I'm guessing it's a little more utilitarian there, because I know motorcycles are very popular, even the little, the little ones at least, for
we
transport.
have the largest marking in the world.
Yeah.
We have a two-wheeler marking in the world.
Yeah. And quite a few manufacturers there that make a lot of bikes.
Bike manufacturers,
Yeah.
and Harley going well in India.
Yeah. So what kind of bikes do you have? What kind of bikes do you ride? So I'm going to pause it right there because he goes into this pretty good. It is super interesting, and India is the largest bike market in the world.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, but and he talks about his bikes. The thing is,
You ever seen a bike with a
India-
4x8 sheet of plywood on it?
Oh yeah,
In India.
oh yeah, they do that shit. There are probably three people on it too.
Yeah. Three people on a 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, it is way more utilitarian there. Here, people only ride bikes for pleasure for the most part. Very few people ride bikes out of necessity. The way things are set up, it's just really hard to be an everyday rider without some kind of backup, the way everything is set up here. So, that culture, the idea of what riding is for is different there, and that's one of the things he talks about a little bit. But what's really interesting is the fact that bikes there are a lot smaller. I mean, period. When he talks, it's coming up here. He's starting out on 100, 180 cc bikes, stuff like that. The biggest bike he has, I think he says, is like a 650. Which Ninja 650 is not a small bike.
No.
That's
he's
a.
driving?
Is he talking about customization at all?
He's got a couple things. We'll listen in, but this is really what drew me to this interview is the difference in there and the similarities. I think when it comes down to riding a motorcycle, I think everyone, no matter what country you're from or where you live, we all kind of ride for the same reasons for the most part. You know what I mean? We like it, we enjoy it, whatever it is. You're either a motorcycle type person or you're not.
The element of mental clarity for him is very interesting.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing. Like he was saying, he was a young man, in his late teens probably when this started happening. So yeah, you're still in development stages at that point, and to persevere, to like he said, fall down and get back up over and over and over again. Transfers into your life. I can't tell you how much my life has changed since I changed careers. Just little things like that will change the way you think about things and everything else. So he's very enlightened, if you will. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and like I said, this was a really good interview.
He brings like the writing to him comes from like a spiritual place, which is really
Correct.
really interesting.
Yeah, and I love the accent.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's jump back into this and see where we were going there.
I think. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. To me, honestly, all bikes are in a different way.
Yes.
I have owned everything from a 100cc motorcycle to a 650cc today.
Yeah.
My first bike was a Bajaj Platina, which I know is not available in USA.
Yeah. So Bajaj, yeah, I said this earlier. We need to look these up. Let's see, I got my,
Good luck
Bajaj.
finding a chain and sprocket kit for a Bajaj
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, probably there you can get them anywhere. You know what I mean? Because
No, but they're not. It's not like here where you're like, oh,
Okay,
you want
Bajaj
a plus,
Auto.
you want a plus
Here we go.
5 rear sprocket for your Bajaj whatever. I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're gonna
You
get
come
that.
here with an Indian bike trying to get parts. You're done.
He's stunting a stock bike. This is
Well,
not
okay,
something
so
with like
we're gonna look this up
majorly
because
changed
I
stuff.
think he said it's an Apache RDR. It's coming up. That's the other one we need to look up that he's stunting or freestyle riding. But yeah, what's the world's favorite Indian? Let's see here. Okay, these motorcycles are kind of cool. One of the other things we have coming up, the guy has a Hyosung, because people in America will not buy a Hyosung. It's just like the worst thing you can buy. But believe it or yeah, they sell them here. But everywhere else in the world, those are very good selling bikes, and they're like a Kia, I guess you'd say, or something like that. They're not, they're not a Kawasaki. I say that in the thing. They're not a Kawasaki, but they're a 600cc. You know, they have different bikes. 600cc bike that gets you around, that looks okay, that runs okay. You get parts. In America, we don't really have the infrastructure for that here. Oh yeah. So if you go to BajajAuto.com,
Is that our guy?
that might be. That very well could be him.
That's a Bajaj.
Yeah. So, so they have low CC bikes for the most part. Looks like 250s, things like that. But he's got some others. Let me see if I can look this up, and I'm gonna play what he's got going on here. Let's see. Yeah, correct.
It had a 100cc meal in it. Then I got an opportunity as a sponsored rider by TVS, an Indian bike company, where I moved up to TVS Apache RTR 180, as the name itself suggests, it being a 180cc machine.
So, Apache RTR is what it is, and they make up to a 310cc bike. So we're talking very low cc bikes here, which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't think would be. I mean, I guess like a 100cc dirt bike's pretty easy to wheelie. These things are a little more street bike style. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, low cc, kind of a big. Yeah. How do you get this thing on the rear wheel? Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he probably weighs.
Okay, so RTR 180 with ABS, engine capacities 177.4, 16.62 horsepower. 15.5 torque, a max speed of 124
Kilometers
shit,
per
dude.
hour.
Is that
Oh yeah,
kilometers?
kilometers. Yeah, you're right. So
There
that's like
you
what
go.
80. That's like 80
They
miles an
tricked
hour.
you.
Yeah,
They
I didn't
tricked
look
you.
at that. So they got me there.
These guys are on fire.
But yeah, they make up to a 310. The 310 has 34 horsepower.
I'm gonna be late for
So
work.
to be stunting a bike like that, it's got to be a little more
Yeah.
difficult, than say like a 636 or an F4i or something like that. That's got gobs of power when it really comes to it, especially when you sprocket them right and everything like that. I ride with those guys on Fridays, and the sport bikes
You ride with quads on Friday night.
sometimes.
That's
but the
wild
guys
stuff.
on the sport bikes, yeah.
Shows his age.
Yeah, well,
I had an
they're-
F4i.
that's what guys are
I
stunting
had
right
an
now.
F4i.
Because who's going to buy a fucking 2020 and stun it? You know what I mean? So that F4i range is where they're at right now.
Bang
636,
tanking
F4i,
and-
yeah. So the funny thing is we here in America, like he was talking about, we've been watching guys stunt fucking sport bikes for 20 years. You know what I mean? And it's easy. Just about anybody can get on a stock sport bike and put it on one wheel. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. I think as Americans, we have gotten a little dulled down to the whole sport bike stunt thing. From Stunt Wars and through the 90s and all that shit. I mean, I don't know about you in Florida. That shit was big. The Harley scene is coming on strong.
That's what's cool though, is
And
big
people
bikes,
eat
heavy
that
bikes
shit
doing
up.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, we rolled into a gas station last Friday night, I think it was. And I'm with Ty and Justin and a couple other guys. Of course, Ty's on his Road Glide. And we hit the gas station. There was probably 100 bikes. No bullshit. Probably 100 bikes at this gas station. I mean, people were just hanging out. Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah. We always tag in Mexico. So Ty comes out, and I mean, you're talking decked out sport bikes, all kinds of shit everywhere. Hayabusas, all those guys are out there. Ty jumps out, puts his fucking Road Glide up on one wheel and just walks by the gas station, and everyone there lost their shit. I mean, it was a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Dale, one of the guys I ride with, is going out to this huge diesel truck race this weekend in Crossville, Tennessee, and it's a big deal.
Mexico.
This is legal. And he's doing stunt shows out there. So he's bringing his stunt bike, I think is a 636, and his Dyna. He's got an 03 Dyna that he stunts as well. He said he can ride that sport bike around all day and do tricks. When he pulls that Harley out, everyone loses their shit. Everyone freaks out. He's like, they don't even give a shit about the sport bike anymore. And I think that's kind of where the U.S. is kind of heading with that sport bike or the stunt thing, is the Harleys are now getting a thing. Most of the guys I ride with, they already have a sport bike, stunt bike. Now they're getting into the Harley stunt bike. And, riding with Justin and Ty and these guys that have been killing it on Harleys.
It shows a lot in the taste that people have when they put parts on these bikes now. I mean, look what they're doing. It's all race stuff, man. Like inverted front ends and carbon fiber, this and that.
So
It's not about
suspension
chrome
is
and all that
like
anymore. It's
A1.
like speed parts, man. Like lightweight.
Yeah, suspension,
High
is
speed,
like
low
first thing
drag,
you do.
man.
For suspension, tires, things like that. I mean, you can wheelie a stock Dyna if you set it up right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got guys on 03 Dynas with no motor work done walking them. You can you can definitely wheelie a Dyna. But we'll jump back in here and see where he's at. He's talking about his bikes. He has some cool bikes, and we do talk about it, but.
I still have the Apache RTR 180 with me. After I bought my first 650cc motorcycle, that is Hyosung 650N, that naked version, right? The South Korean machine.
Yes.
Hyosung?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Then onwards, I bought two other bikes, a Kawasaki Ninja 650 and a Triumph Street Triple 675.
Oh, okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. So he said a Ninja 650, which I think is kind of the detuned version of their like 600RR. You know what I mean? I think that's got a little bit more upright handlebars, the Ninja 650.
Like the Katana.
No, not quite that bad, but I think the Ninja 650 is a little more upright. And he said he's got a fucking 675 Speed Triple, or had. That's a badass bike. And we talk about that a little bit, but
Does he cage these things and all that stuff? Is he riding them naked?
I kind of asked him about that. We'll keep going.
Okay.
That's my garage with just one recent change where I had let go my Triumph. My favorite bike out of all I own is Kawasaki Ninja 650 facelift model 2013.
Yeah.
The engine, the shape of the bike, the exhaust note, the way the bike rides, the ergonomics, everything about this bike, just proper blend of beauty and power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rode Kawasaki for years. I'm a big fan of Kawasaki myself. I do have to ask the Hyosung, how do you like that bike?
The bike have a different formula, right?
Yes.
The bike have a different formula. Japs have done brilliant with the bikes.
Yes.
Because I'm a Jap fan, so Jap have done brilliant. It's a reliable machine, I would say. It's a reliable machine.
I've heard
Right.
that. Now here in the States, I mean, people will not touch that bike. It's a hard sell. People, they just think it's Chinese junk. And I've seen a few, and I try to explain to people. I said, man, I've done a lot of research on that bike, and everywhere else but here they sell, and people like them. They're not bad bikes. They're not the greatest. They're not a Kawasaki, but you don't pay Kawasaki prices either. But that's funny. You're the first person I've talked to who's actually had one. So. I see them for sale every once in a while, and I'm like, man, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna buy this thing? So
Actually, we have in India we have lots of troubling roads, right? I would say the right word. Like we don't have perfect roads in India.
Yeah.
We have special highway. We have 6-lane highways. We have expressways. But some of the cities or some of the states, we don't have much good roads in India.
Yeah.
So that machine, Kawasaki Ninja, plays major role, right? Plays major role. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a reliable machine in terms of its electronics, its wiring, and the engine, right? Yeah.
Now, do you have bikes set up? Is that the bike you also do your freestyle riding on?
No. I have Apache RTR with me for freestyle riding.
Okay.
I have at that time. I said at that time, Triumph Street Triple 675. I bought Triumph Street 675. I had let go my Triumph Street 675 because that bike is for my projects. That bike is for my projects. So once my project is over, I sold that machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's a nice bike. That Speed Triple's a nice bike. They're pretty torquey on the bottom end.
That machine is very nimble.
Yeah.
Very nimble machine. Right.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan
very
of those.
Easy to handle, I would say. Very easy to handle.
Yeah.
and lots of power.
Yeah, they have a lot of bottom end power that a lot of the Jap bikes don't necessarily have.
And the service cost is very much low in terms of Kawasaki Ninja.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, service cost very much in terms of Kawasaki Ninja. The parts is very not costly too much, right?
Yeah. So have you gotten into, wheelies or anything on the Harleys yet?
Not a lot.
So I'm going to stop this right here because I was hoping.
Not a lot. I mean, that's not a no.
Yeah, I was hoping that I would get a little more out of him because, it is a big deal to me. The Harley thing, obviously, we're very Harley oriented. And it's very interesting what he has to say here. And I'm going to play it again just a second. But I was really hoping to get a little more. But we also have to keep in mind that even in India, a Harley Davidson is an upper echelon motorcycle.
Like a
Right.
Everywhere. Here,
Ducati.
everywhere. Yeah. You're not
Aprilia.
Yeah, you're not going to
that.
start off on a Harley for the most part. You know what I mean? And you're not going to buy, especially a new Harley, and go stun it. That's not going to happen unless you got a lot of money. And most people don't have that. So let's keep going.
But I have burned some rubber on 2 Harley Davidsons. One was a Street 750 which I did some rolling burnout, and
so I'm
Street
impressed with that.
750.
Yeah. You guys know how I feel about that Street 750. I fucking love that little thing, dude. I love that thing. I want one so bad.
They're fun to ride.
But it's totally a toy. Like for the way I ride and what I do, it's a little less than what I need, but it's just enough to be a lot of fucking fun, man. And I want to know how to do a rolling burnout on a Street 750. I was like, dude, that sounds great. But let's keep going because what he says next is great too.
And the other time when I did try to perform a Fat Boy last year.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Fat
hoping
Boy.
that the next time I am on one, I will pop the front wheel at least.
It's hard.
Even my favorite bike is the Fat Bob, which I find perfect for my SFR gigs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. So, as you said, here in the U.S., the freestyle riding has been a thing for quite a while. Many years.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching guys doing this stuff, and we had stunt wars and all these things. I come from Florida originally, and down there, it's just it's a really big thing. But I've noticed over the last 10 years or so, a lot of the guys that are really doing a lot of it are moving over to the Harleys. And I now ride with a bunch of guys that have 636s and F4Is and things like that at home that are all done up with the cages and all that, so they can they can stun them and wheelie them and they fall over and they don't get totally beat up. But now they're buying Sportsters and Dynas. And they're getting a second stunt bike. You know what I mean? And,
I saw some of the videos on Instagram. The people are very skilled. The American people is very skilled.
Well, I do ride with some guys that are very skilled. Like I said, I'm not necessarily that skilled, but I do ride with some guys.
I'm following some of the guys from USA, Justin Pullen, Justin Britton, and around there are lots of many guys. We have a XDL championship in USA, a sport bike freestyle riding championship in USA.
Yeah. So have you been here to the US?
No, I don't have been. I don't right now. I'm not seen USA.
Yet, right? Yeah. Yet. I had to throw that in there because there's always stuff coming in the future, and I have a really good feeling that this guy has a really good future.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I stopped it here. Because,
and what's interesting about it too is like the transition that a lot of guys make is from the smaller bikes. Like my buddy Cody stunts the crap out of his Dyna. He just sold it because he said he had to get off one wheel.
Yeah.
He was getting busted for doing it. Dirt bike guy, right? Small bike, 125, 250, 450. Made the progression, got more confidence, built up his skill. Same thing, guys with the sport bikes, right? You sport bike with a cage, it's cheap. You hone your skill, and then you get up on that big bike, and you kind of got the feel. You kind of got what you know what you're doing. That's.
I want to do it so bad, but at the same time, I know what it's going to take to get to where some of the guys I ride with are. And I don't know if I can afford it.
Hey, we've seen it. We've seen it. I mean, Ty, we've seen him throw that bike down the street.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Pick it up, rebuild it,
I
come back.
love my bike. I don't love it in some of the ways that some of our customers do, where they polish it and clean it for 6 hours every fucking day when they get home. It's not me. But I do love my bike, and I don't clean it a lot. I don't obsess about how it looks, but at the same time, I don't want it to look like a total piece of shit. So I have 18-inch ape hangers. You can't do fucking wheelies and shit with 18-inch ape hangers. That shit's not gonna happen. You're gonna bend shit. Stuff's gonna happen. So these bikes have to be set up for that. And in the end, I ride so much that I then sacrifice what I have to deal with every day for what I want to do on Friday night, let's say. You know what I mean? And
Time for a second
I'm
bike.
not there yet. Yeah. So I'm about 50% of the way to convincing my wife to let me buy another Sportster. I'm
Mike's
not
been on
there
me to buy a
yet.
Sportster. He's like, you got to buy a Sportster, man. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. Fucking Sporties are where
I
it's
might be
at.
down.
I love the Sporties. And I ride my 883.
I'm just not sure on the freeway being tacked out at 95 or 100 miles an hour.
My 883 does 107 tacked out.
Dude, what you need to do is have them put your Dyna on consignment, because this is the best time in your entire life to sell Harley Davidsons.
I don't disagree with that.
They are going for so much money because they're so hard to get.
And your Dyna's badass.
And your Dyna will sell for $5,000 more than it's worth in a week right now.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
God, I love that bike, man.
That is a badass
That's so
bike.
hard.
And I know you got a lot of heart and soul.
I built that by hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a lot of heart and soul in that bike.
But I've already thought to myself, what would happen if I did that and got that like Lowrider S, the new Lowrider S, and do it upright?
I want to get back into this interview, but what you're saying reminds me of something. So Sunday I went to this meetup with a bunch of riders and stuff, and I was talking to this guy, and he had a Dyna. I want to say he did a 117, like nasty motor, all this shit on it. Had a badass Dyna, and he's like, I fucking love that bike. He's on a Lowrider S now, bone stock. In fact, it's on my lift. His bike is on my lift. I just put a cam in it, not set. I just put a cam in it, and we're waiting on his exhaust. And he made the comment that we all make all the time, which was, these fucking Dyna guys have no idea.
How good. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, you are so right. I was like, the only Dyna guys that talk shit about the new Softail are guys that haven't ridden one.
Dude, you know what I even thought about beyond that, man, was like a Sport Glide.
Oh, yeah.
A Sport Glide with an RT fairing on it. Holy shit.
We have that one here with that crazy fairing on it. And to be honest with you, so I was on it today. I rode it out.
How does it feel? Does it block a lot of air?
No.
See, I was afraid of that.
I totally.
Well, but when you do it right, like we did with Vivian's bike,
that's what I'm talking
that's
about.
a better fairing.
That's how I set it up.
But
yeah, this guy spent.
I actually had to admit, I rode it around back, and I was like, "Oh, this fucking bike is so me. This fucking bike is almost exactly what I would do to a bike."
I could see.
I don't like the
fairing.
fairing,
that thing.
but I bet if I were to look at that fairing online or something like that, I would see it and be like, "That's the one I want." And then I would put it on my bike and be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything that's been done to that bike, I have to admit, I probably would have done.
It looks like you wanted a Road Glide, but you couldn't afford it.
It's not quite there. It's a little mixed matchy, but I tend to do that with my bikes anyways. I learned the hard way with my bikes, And I got on it today, and I was... especially being here, if someone else isn't giving you shit, you're probably giving yourself shit, getting prepared for someone else giving you shit. So I was riding this thing around, and all I could think of in my head was somebody being like, "Oh, that bike's all you." And I was looking at it, and I was like,
"Goddamn right."
It is a Sport Glide. I do love the Sport Glide. It's got bags, all that shit that I want.
Front
it's
end,
got this stupid fucking fairing on the front that was probably less than the good fairing, which is something stupid that I would do. So I was like, this bike is damn near me, man. It's damn near.
It's a nice bike.
All right, well, let's get back into this interview before we get too far off topic.
I wish I could reach there.
Yeah.
In future.
Well, man, if you ever end up over here, especially if you end up in Tennessee, you're going to have to hit me up. I'll put you on a bike, whatever we got to do.
You people, please be my guest when you come to Udaipur or in India.
Yeah.
I will make sure you people are the most happiest person in India.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, and the stunt thing or the freestyle thing is so much fun, and for people that don't ride, it's so captivating. So people love to see it, and you don't have to ride to appreciate it.
I think people call it biking dangerous, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
they label it like a dangerous thing. It's not a dangerous thing.
It's not. It's only as dangerous as you let it be, really.
Yeah.
And some people, you have to be very hyper aware, and it does take a certain kind of person to get out on the highways and pay enough attention that they don't hurt themselves. But the dangerous thing brings up a really good segue into one of the other questions I had. Now, how old are you, Rotesh?
I'm 25 right now.
25. Okay, so that's perfect age.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop that right there because this question is such an asshole question because it is the loaded question for motorcycles, which is how do we market, So I'm gonna fill it in here, but I gave him, this was the doozy, okay, when it came to the questions. This one was the big one, and his answers are, I think, what really give us something to talk about and really make this interview. I was really impressed with kind of the way he went with what he thought needed to be done. And we did have some issues, so if it sounds weird and gets broken up in between, I think we had another connection issue in there. But
keep in mind, this is his second language. He's pretty well spoken.
No, yeah, I love the accent. He did a really good job. He actually afterwards was like, I apologize for my English.
No, he's doing a great job.
Dude,
he's
you're
doing a great
good,
job.
man.
Ask me to speak what language is it?
So he's the pronunciation, and we talked about this. This isn't on the interview. The pronunciation of his name is Hindu. So I don't know if his family's Hindu or whatever, but like Hindu, Urdu, Muslim. There's a couple others, but Hindu and Urdu are the two big ones for the most part when you think of India. And I actually, before I called him, I'm gonna let out a little secret here. I actually went on Google or something, my wife did, and it will give you translations in Hindu and in Urdu. So in Urdu, his name was Rotesh. It wasn't Upadhyay, like he said. It was something a little bit different. And I was like, I don't know. Let's see what it is in Hindu. And it was Rohitesh Upadhyay. And I was like, okay. So when he says his name, I might sound smart. I'm like, oh, so when we were talking originally, he was like, oh, it's Rohitesh Upadhyay. And I was like, okay, so that's Hindu. And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, okay, it's because, my wife, for those that don't know, is Indian by descent. She's not really claimed by people from India because she's from Trinidad. But people from India were brought to the West Indies by the British as slaves. So she's, mixed a little bit with the Caribbean, natives, if you will. But, she's Indian by descent, but born and raised in the what they call the West Indies. Uh-huh. And the Indians don't really, associate that with each other. So, it's a little weird to say she's Indian because she's not. But she is Indian by descent. But anyways, that doesn't matter. But we did talk about it a little bit. And let's see. We'll keep going here.
I'm a 90s guy, so I'm a 35 right now.
Yeah. So 95. The industry... Wait. Okay, so that means he was born in 95. Jesus fucking Christ. I was almost graduating high school.
Almost. I already had, motherfucker.
I was 2 years. I was 2 years out. Yeah.
I was in Bosnia saving Muslims.
You were fucking, yeah.
I was in the army.
Yeah. So how old are you?
45, 46.
46, man. Same here.
46. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize you were that much older than me. I thought we were a little closer than that. But
no, old
you got 4 or 5 years on me, whatever it is. Anyways, let's keep going. As a whole, and you hear about it a lot in the U.S., but the industry has had a really hard time marketing to the younger generations, especially Harley Davidson, because they're a very high priced, high dollar item that not a lot of young people can even afford in the first place, But we do talk to a lot of people about it, and what's your take on how we should be marketing to the younger generation? How do we get more people right?
This is very much question.
Yeah, it is. It's the magic question.
Well, my friend, this is pretty much a subjective thing, I think. And to me, the risks involved in motorcycling is very much equal to anyone cooking food, where you have a sharp objects like a knife involved and even a fire as an element to prepare anything.
Yeah.
Of course, if done improperly, both the things do have the potential to harm you.
Yeah.
One can also check at how shooting is an international Olympic grade sport. With the real life gun in the equation, how do you control such a sport? By proper training, developing a skill, sticking to set of device safety norms and rules. Similarly, there are rules to everything in life. Else, even walking will be classified as dangerous tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? As much as the point of influence, I want to myself ask this to you. Like we have a car franchise, such as Fast and the Furious. Why don't we have a bike franchise in the same regard?
I agree.
Yep.
I'm going to stop that right there because I do agree. And actually, I'm going to play this because I say what I want to say right now. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Something that can equate them up to a count of 8 to 9 movies.
Yeah.
Why you think this is significant? Well, whether we believe it or not, such kind of actions do generate a trend. I sincerely think we aren't trying that hard with motorcycles into glamorizing them like it has been for cars in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
The second option, I think, is the status symbol, which should be exploited a bit more, right? Okay, so we have a road production car, Bugatti Chiron, touching 490 km/h today, and a Kawasaki Ninja SR going only 400 km/h.
Yeah.
How do you expect college boys to fantasize and put up posters of bikes on their bedroom walls where they have lost their element of being ludicrous?
Yeah.
Where are
So I'm going to stop it because I fucking love what he has to say right there.
Over the top.
So those of us been in the industry for a while, there has always been this talk about how the industry got together and agreed on this, 198 mile an hour top limit, whatever it is that we run right now on most of the sport bikes, 180, 198. There's a number that everybody tops out at. And the way I've always been told by everybody in the industry is that it's somewhat of a gentleman's agreement between companies.
300.
In that if they keep pushing it too far, then governments are going to backlash and force them to do it. So the industry as a whole had kind of settled on this, hey, 198 miles an hour is all you need to fucking do on a motorcycle. And, this much power or this much speed or whatever is all you need to do. But in the car world, we have fucking Hellcats and GT40s and, these fucking cars that are insane fast that you buy from the fucking factory. And I hate to say it, but Indian.
No, that's where we come in.
No. What Harley Davidson from the factory do you buy that is a fucking badass machine gonna wax anything on the fucking
right
live wire?
Nothing. They do CVOs, which aren't set up for racing necessarily. They're set up with all the bells and whistles and the paint and the chrome and everything like that. But Harley does not make a performance bagger. Nope. They don't do it.
No, I think they should.
They should. Indian did it first. It sucks to say it. That Challenger,
sort of.
Hey, that Challenger may not be the fastest, the best thing on the road, but it is a factory performance bagger. You cannot deny that.
There's a road race coming up. We'll see how it pans out.
And we will. And I think some people might be surprised.
See how it pans out.
Actually, I know some people will be surprised. We'll just see which side of that fence is surprised. But seriously, he has a really good point here. In the car world, in the truck world, in almost every other
like stuff on
oddity,
Viper V10
there
in
are
a pickup truck.
there are the crazy fast shit, and then there's everything else.
But the motorcycles do that.
Kind of.
Hayabusas and
So
the
it's coming.
CX-14s.
Right, we're not. Harley's not doing that.
Well,
That's
a Hayabusa
been
is
like 10 years
anyways.
ago.
Now, the only bike I can think of that might be in that status is the H1 we talked about in one of the other. That's a badass bike.
Badass,
but
supercharged.
I guarantee you it is speed limited to the same speed that everything else
Any
out there
competent
is.
tuner is going to unlock that.
Yeah. But we're
5
talking
minutes.
about, like
Should
he
be able to
said,
sell it.
how are you going to get this guy that's in college, that's just about ready to go out and buy something, to put pictures of some badass motorcycles on his wall?
So I'm going to fundamentally disagree,
Okay.
because the problem that we have is not the fact that there aren't badass motorcycles. Because if you crash at 100 miles an hour, you're probably going to die.
Oh, yeah.
Period. So it doesn't matter how fast you go. The difference is kids aren't buying these badass cars.
They're soft.
Kids,
Can afford
Oh, yeah.
the kids don't want to ride motorcycles because, like he said, everybody says it's dangerous, and they're being told that
Mom
there's no
says
reason
no.
to do it. They're dangerous. What we should do is what he's talking about is the Fast and the Furious and these franchises.
Yeah.
They're showing you these badasses like we did with Sons of Anarchy, which was one of the most popular series.
Oh,
in-
yeah. And I talk
in the
about that
world.
in the interview. Oh,
And they tried it for a second one with the Mayans, and I don't know how
yeah,
well
yeah.
that's doing.
And I
'cause
talk
don't
about
really
that
watch
here
it.
in the interview
But
with him.
I really think that the reason that we are so good at what we're doing is because I don't give a fuck about you and your bagger and your Affliction t-shirts and your fleur-de-lis pants. I don't care.
Well, yeah, but we're in the
Because-
culture. It's how do we get people outside of the culture interested in this culture?
You gotta be
and
because
that's the biggest thing.
we promote
People don't like
promote the
Dodge.
wheelies.
People don't like Dodge for the fucking Caravan.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's what he's saying.
You promote
That
the
power
bad
wagon.
boy image. It's not
Yeah.
and going faster than 198 miles an hour is irrelevant.
And that's why I
Because
don't.
the bad boys are doing wheelies at 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't buy
when you
the
go
fact that they say that
35
it's
miles an
not
hour-
picking up. It is. It is.
It will,
if
no, in
you
the
look
last
in the right area,
4 or 5 months,
the area of
is
the
different.
culture, the
last 10 years,
okay,
not so much.
Dude, for me,
Right,
where I
but-
come from,
but
the
you
last
know-
5-6 years,
So you look
guys
at-
were wheeling Harleys and stuff back in
No, I'm
California
talking about
before I even came out
okay.
here.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the market, the sales in the market. And let me finish this
And we
because
take pride in
Yeah.
No more big wheel.
Specifically,
big
fuck
wheel.
big wheels.
Harley Davidson specifically is trying to market to the softer side of the young generation, and
Bullshit.
They need to say, you know what? Don't fucking buy a Harley
Yeah.
then.
No, and
Yeah.
I agree.
Leave it to
That's
us.
kind of what I'm. Well,
Leave it to us. We'll take
that
care
should
of
be
it.
the marketing. The marketing should go back to, oh, well, I guess some guy walks out in flip flops and gets in a demon, and some guy pulls up on a road glide, and the guy's like, huh, nice bike, and he's like, yeah, well, at least I'm not you, and rides off.
So here's the thing.
It was nice knowing you. You're going to be
And-
at Harley doing marketing now.
You
man.
have to
It was
hit
nice to know
people
ya.
when they're young. And the reason I say this is, I was in high school in the mid to late 90s. There are bikes on my list that I will own, no matter how old they are. At one point, I will own them. One of them is the CBR XX 1100. That was one of the baddest fucking bikes on the road in the 90s. And I loved that bike. It was all black. You have it any color you want, black. Then they did silver, and they might have done another one, but then, for the most part, they were all black. They called them Blackbirds. A VMAX.
Oh, fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? That VMAX back
Still making
then
them.
was a fucking nasty
That's a
bike.
Bad bitch.
V4, right?
So yeah, V4. That is, if you've ever heard one with like an
Yes,
exhaust
I
and
rode
shit
next
on it,
to one
holy
quite a bit.
fuck, that is
Yes.
a fucking awesome bike. I've never ridden one enough to say how much it is to actually ride and like handle and all that.
They get around
but
pretty good.
goddamn,
The
yeah,
VMAX.
Yeah.
Those freaking badass.
they move. V65
This
Magna.
guy was a road captain,
If I found a
blocking
good deal on a
traffic, doing all kinds
V65
of shit
Magna,
with
I
it.
would buy it.
But guess what?
Because it was
They
the
didn't-
fastest
Yep.
street bike on the road.
And they
the
sold
V65
so-
Magna.
And all those bikes sold so well that the Jap companies eliminated the entire platforms and started trying to copy American cruisers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Well-
it doesn't matter how fast you go.
I know, but
The guys that want to go super fast are buying
just wanna
R1s.
look-
All right, wait. Let's separate.
cool.
Let's separate something. Fast and quick. What do we want? We want quick.
Torque.
top
Well,
speed.
but-
I agree
Quick.
that top
I don't
speed
give a
does
damn
not
about
matter.
top speed. I want quick.
No, it was all about attitude. It doesn't fucking matter. This is the part that people don't get. When you pull up on a Yamaha VMAX and you have one of the most powerful road bikes ever produced, and some guy pulls up on a Harley Sportster that you can't even hear the VMAX anymore because the Sportster's there with his short shots, and he's got a half shell helmet and he's wearing a black leather jacket, and they leave the light. Nobody fucking cares at all that there was a Yamaha VMAX there, except for such a small amount of aficionados like yourself. Everyone's gonna go, that guy on the Harley looks fucking badass.
He's pulling the wool.
I don't agree with that, but I
Well,
get what you're saying.
If it wasn't true, then they'd still make the VMAX.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. They do.
They don't make it anymore.
They still make it.
Well, but it doesn't. But it's not. Yamaha is emulating Harley. Honda emulates Harley.
No, I mean-
Kawasaki emulates Harley.
The Yamaha Bolt is
they-
a Sportster.
they have
for
their-
sure.
yeah, they have
It's a damn near copy of a Sportster.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you were to like
Yep.
sketch one out, if you trace one on paper and put it over a Sportster, it's damn near
Well,
exact.
everybody wants to
because
be a Harley.
the
Everybody
history of
wants one.
Harley is bad boy.
But I think a lot of that has to do with our market because we have a very large market, maybe second to India. I'm gonna say, just shooting from the hip.
Oh, it's
Oh my
everywhere.
god. Yeah, that's
You're-
And
bullshit.
Americans
Everywhere.
think totally different than everybody else. in the
No,
world.
dude, it's
No.
like if
Harley's-
a Softail Slim, a Dyna, and a Sportster had a baby.
What?
That's what the Bolt looks like.
Oh no, the Bolt.
It looks
I
like
promise you.
a Sportster, a Slim,
if you
and
trace
a Dyna had a baby. That's
the
what that
motor,
looks like.
frame, tank,
Yeah.
front forks,
It's a three-way.
rear circle, you
Yeah.
can put it right over a Sportster, and it
Yeah.
is almost identical.
But all those other marketing techniques and all those other
Speaking
street
of
bikes
that,
didn't go anywhere.
This weekend, I rode with a chick that maybe weighed 100 pounds, riding a fucking Bolt that could ride. Like straight up, we were out on the highway, booking it in and out of cars. And when we got done, I was impressed. I was like, we stopped and I was talking to her husband and her. And I said, so that you on this bike? And she's like, yeah. And she was like fucking 5 foot tall. You know, she was tiny and she looked tiny on the bike. But she looked really comfortable because I rode behind her for a while. We were in a pack. And I told her, I was like, man, you look really comfortable on that bike. She's like, yeah, I love this bike. I've been doing it long enough. I know what's going on. And she would shit and get on that bike. I mean, that thing was a nice little bike. But let's get back. I think I have, let's see, just a few more minutes of this. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so this must have been one of my stopping points.
Yeah. So I was saying the third option I think is that motorsports can play a huge part, generating a proper trend about competitive motorsports like motocross, MotoGP, and trail biking can help push spirit of biking.
Yeah.
The last and prominently, the experience of biking itself. We need to able to sell the experience of being on a bike, living with it, and diagnostics better, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's going to be transferred into social media, you know, because that's how we're reaching the younger generation is through social media and things like that. You know, like you said, with the movies, if you will, like movie franchises.
Franchises, yeah.
The last time the industry was in any kind of real uptake or boom was back in the days of and I don't know how much you guys got over there, which was Discovery Channel doing the OCC and all the chopper shows and the biker build-offs. And, you know, almost every night of the week you could watch something about motorcycles on TV.
Yeah.
And when that went away, the industry has hurt, you know, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I do agree with you.
You know, that was one of the things I was going to say earlier, and I kind of saved it because I say it here. You know, that really was the last time the industry was in a boom, was the OCC, the biker build off and all that, because you didn't have to ride motorcycles to want to ride motorcycles. You know,
Right, and
you could
it's
turn on
time-
Discovery Channel and be like, man, that bike looks so cool. I bet I would look so cool on that. And that is the flip side to kind of what we were saying earlier about having the fastest, most badass bike. Is the flip side to that is having the coolest looking bike.
But it's happening.
You know what I mean?
It's happening.
So you have two sides of that. You put posters on your wall, and they're either the fastest, baddest ass thing you ever had, or they're the coolest looking thing you've ever had.
But it's happening. There are guys walking through here weekly that you would not expect, but they experience it, they sit on it, and they go, man, I want that front end.
Yeah.
I want the crossbars. I want the carbon fiber wheels. They don't look
You know
the
why
part.
they want that? Because they see it on social media.
Probably.
And all the people that they think are cool are riding on it.
Right, and that's the thing. That's the next wave. The next wave is the complete performance Harley Davidson bike.
I don't
and
disagree.
why we don't have
The
that
problem-
pushed and served up to us a
I
little bit
agree.
more with a platform that lets us
1,000%
take off from that a little
For
bit
the
easier.
aftermarket.
Yes.
You're talking full aftermarket. What I am talking about,
Harley's coming out with a production road glide.
Do
performance
a road glide with
You
an
think so?
inverted front end.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
I mean, why not? They already have the front end. Put some heavier springs, some dampening in it.
Yeah.
You know, they have it all. It's
Team
all
up with a
there.
fucking suspension
But
company.
you got to
Carbon
remember,
fiber. Put some carbon fiber
company
on these
like-
bikes.
But a company like Harley Davidson can't just throw that shit together. You know, Indian was developing the Challenger when they were Victory.
Oh, yeah.
that bike was a concept bike in 2012.
That's why it might actually
you know,
be okay.
I mean, it took 8 years. But it doesn't matter. It's still a cheap plastic piece of shit when you ride it.
The dirt bike.
You know, it's not. It isn't sleek. It isn't mean. It's not luxury. You know, when you ride a Harley, when you sit there, and I don't give a fuck who you are, you can lie all you want. When you sit on a road glide, the controls are sleek. They're small. They're not plastic. Everything is very high end.
Man, everything you touch,
and we're not
everything
trying
you
to sell
touch
road
feels
glides
right.
to Ty, because fuck Ty.
Yeah, Ty's not going to buy a
You know what
fucking
I mean?
2020
Yeah.
and wheelie it. Nobody is.
No.
Nobody is. Nobody's going to buy a $30,000 bike and go wheelie it.
We
You know
are
what I mean?
we are
Like,
marketing motorcycles to people that are successful in life.
Yeah.
And maybe want to cross over and be like,
So-
I want to have like a hard edge attitude sometimes.
I don't want to say argument to that, but my devil's advocate to that is it takes years and years and years and years to get to that successful point where you're ready to spend that kind of money.
And no matter what motorcycle they had before, they get
No.
rid of it
Always
and they
want a
buy a
fucking
Harley.
But
when
if
they get
you
there.
if when you start, you don't so if we don't present ourselves as the best as everything there, when you get to the point where you have money, you're going to buy something else. So what we have to do, and kind of what we're talking about with getting the posters up on the wall for the college guys, is not for them to buy that shit in the next year or two. It's for them to work the next 10 fucking years
And want it bad
Yeah.
enough.
and want it. And that's
Yep.
what I'm saying with the CBR-XX and the things like that. I couldn't afford that shit
Yeah,
back
but that
then.
shit's gone.
Now
Nobody
I want
cares.
one.
Nobody
now
cares.
I want one because I told myself that I would own one then.
So
So
right.
now, and that's why old cars
and what
are
what
so
Harley,
big right now,
and what
because
Harley
guys
Davidson-
were kids back in the day. Their dad had a 65 Mustang that was badass, and they swore to themselves that one day they would have a badass 65 Mustang. So
But-
they get to 45 years old, they have the money, and they're like, fuck it, I'm buying a 65 Mustang. Even though they can go into the fucking showroom and buy a 2020 Mustang that'll wax that thing's ass.
I'm telling you,
They want the 65. You know
but
what I'm saying?
The problem with our marketing is Harley needs to make a commercial with some 23-year-old dude doing a wheelie on a Sportster past a gas station full of sport bikes.
Oh, I don't disagree. I don't
That
disagree
is
at
what
all.
will sell because you are our whole image has made it. This company has lasted for 100 years because it's been on the fringe of legal.
Yeah.
And everything and that's and who gives a shit if these soft little fucking kids that are like, oh, it's dangerous. Who cares if they buy a fucking motorcycle? They're not going to buy any motorcycle.
Yeah.
So why do you
Yeah,
why
why
are
try
you
and
trying
pander?
to
You're pandering down and softening it.
Why
Yeah.
are we trying to market to a group of people that isn't into
Well,
motorcycling at
like
all?
I said though, you're
We
not.
need to- we need
you're
to
not.
go to the group
You're
of people.
planting seeds
No, you're not.
so that when they can afford
go to
it,
a guy.
Honor will never ride a fucking motorcycle.
Oh, I don't
And
agree with that at all.
And it doesn't matter what kind it is.
He'll rebel.
He doesn't even know who fucking Evil Knievel is.
It doesn't matter. He's too young to
I
know
heard
who the
that.
fuck even Evil Knievel is.
But I agree. What they need to do is take the dudes that come off
The
like
guys-
Cody. You like your 450? holy shit, jump on one of these things and feel what they feel like.
What we need to do is we need to market to the kids that are just getting out of motocross because they realize they're not good enough to go pro, and go, you know what, you have a lot of choices here.
Jump on a Softail.
You need a Sportster, a Softail, a small
I have
Harley.
like
and we
less than
marketing
2 minutes of this conversation left, so I'm going to play it, and we'll finish it up. And let's see where we're at.
Yep.
Well, yeah, man. You know, I look forward to seeing what you got coming up and following, you know, all your exploits, if you will, and I hope you do the same here. And you know, it's always nice to kind of reach out and talk to somebody, you know, dang near on the other side of the earth.
And first of all, sorry for my English. RIP English. Yeah.
Not a problem.
Good job.
It's really good English.
Really good.
That's fucking awesome.
You know,
His delivery is
Pleasure to
so.
talk with you, Roy. Pleasure to talk with you.
Speaks better English than most people in this
and
country.
like I said,
Yes.
I'm gonna, you know, keep an eye out on our stuff. We got some really cool guys riding, and we're always doing cool stuff. And like I said, I look forward to seeing what you got coming
there
as
soon.
well.
I will be there. I wish to be there soon.
Yeah, like I said, man,
Because,
if you get over
we
here.
have
and
an XDL championship there in USA. So in 2022,
okay.
hook his
I
ass
guess I will come there.
Okay.
Cheap plane tickets.
Well,
2022.
I'll be looking forward to it, man. In one way or another, we'll have to get together when you get over here.
For sure.
All right.
For sure.
Well, it's
Yeah. All right.
All right. It was a pleasure talking with you, buddy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Generous of you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
See,
That's such a motorcycle place.
you can tell from his delivery, this guy, like he has a very defined, contained way. And I'm sure he trains this way. He thinks this way. He speaks this way. He's very
Totally into it.
yeah, man. He's very controlled.
About it.
Very
Plus, he probably does a lot of interviews about it. So
yeah, man.
It's
So,
not-
so,
it's
some,
not-
some,
actually,
some of his responses I thought he was reading, but it's just his delivery. He's so well thought about how he feels about this stuff.
Well spoken.
Yeah.
Extremely well spoken, man. Like
So 2022, man. 2022.
2022, we're
I
in.
told him, I'm
It's not
like,
that
dude,
long away.
you let me know. Yeah, 2022. I'm gonna work it out, dude. I'm gonna ride with this dude. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have some fun.
we're gonna block off the street and let
Oh
him do
yeah,
his thing.
that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get a ride together, and when he comes over here, we're gonna have some fun. I don't give a fuck where he's at. You know.
Get him on a mule.
Ooh, something's coming in Nashville. I forget what it is. I don't know.
the plague.
There's an event coming. Oh yeah, we're a hot spot. I don't know if you know that, but no, like I said, the interview was really cool. I like the way the guy talks. You know, I think he's got the same kind of passion we do
He's
about it.
an
You know what I mean?
extremely
Like, it
regimented,
Yeah.
structured guy.
Yeah, I mean, we've made a career out of our passion for the most part, most of us here, and so is he. You know, and you can kind of tell that. It was super nice to talk with him, and he has a manager that I dealt with a little bit, and you know, afterwards he had called me and was like, I really appreciate, you know, the interview and everything. He's like, I felt like it went really well, and I was like, it did. Don't stress about it. You did really well. I think everything's going to go good. And his manager kind of got involved after he texted me today and was like, well, can we ask for edits and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no.
So you didn't. You didn't tell him that. You didn't tell him that you're in the top 40 million of podcasts.
Yeah, I am. I'm like
with 100.
999,000 or something. Yeah.
You don't even know.
Like, hey, by the way,
I am in the top 40 million.
We'll take a survey of all 100 and find out how they felt that went.
at least 50 people.
I have at least 7 listeners on every episode. I am doing really good.
Yeah.
But no, you know, I'm looking forward. I'm going to start reaching out to some more people and maybe trying to do stuff like this. I don't think the recorded episode, you know, the recorded interview was that bad.
No.
I think it gives us a way
good.
to stop and go. I do like having you guys for, you know, the interviews if I can help it, because sometimes there are questions that need to be asked that I don't think of.
And frankly, we show up.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, we have fun. You know, we have fun.
Showing up
whether
is
or
half the
not
battle.
whether or not people like what we're doing, we have fun.
We do have fun, man. We can certainly
Yeah.
kill a friggin' 12-pack
Dude,
of
there's
beer.
beer all over the table right now. I'm fucking really disappointed in this GoPro, man. It dies every time we fucking record. And I even got a backup battery plugged into it. I think it's Woody's fault.
I think our shows are better liquor fueled, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. This one wasn't bad.
Not to say it was a bad show. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man.
I mean, I'm
That's
like
not what
4
I'm saying.
beers deep.
He got all buttered.
I know. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
All right,
You know, I
I
thought
won't
this
put it
was
that
going.
way. I feel better.
Yeah.
Liquor
So
fueled.
it's funny because I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, man, you should come on the show. A lot of people have like anxiety when it comes to like the way their voice sounds or how they're going to sound to other people and things like that. And I try to tell them, like, look, man, I promise I'll make you sound as good
Roy's
as I
a magician.
can.
He'll make you sound good.
The
some
audio
bass in that
side of
shit.
things, I'm pretty good at. The video side of things, I'm still struggling with. I have fucking hours of video that I need to go through, and like, man, the video side of thing, I am struggling with.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean, Joe Rogan has a professional crew that sets all
Exactly,
that shit up. So
and I literally have zero help.
nobody
Zero.
does. But podcasts aren't designed to be watched anyway.
You guys are all the help I get, and that is in the actual recording part. But once we are done here, I have zero help from editing to marketing to
is
all of
Randy
that
doing?
shit.
Don't we have Randy?
Yeah, but I don't pay Randy. And if I start
Get your ass
encroaching
to work,
on that, then Jamie's gonna be like, that shit ain't happening. I don't blame him.
Then the
I do
break
the same
room
way.
goes away
Yeah,
and we're
yeah. Oh yeah, no more podcasts here. Yeah, I like doing the podcast here. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know.
It's way better.
Yeah. My garage is a little hot.
The meals are better at your place.
Well, plus for the 10 minutes that there is video, there's a motorcycle in the background. There's coffee pots.
I mean, we did catch the whole garage door thing on the last one.
You have it's the
You
law.
actually had that on camera?
You didn't see my Instagram
Dude,
post?
I was back in California when this shit went down.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
heard
right.
about it, man.
Dude, I posted it.
I
Go
saw
on my
the stitches.
Instagram. It's fucking great, dude. It's just us. It's just. Well, no, it basically pops up with Mike like, well, I Googled it, and you're more likely to get kidnapped by your garage door than you are to hit it with your motorcycle going down.
And
I fucking died as soon as he said that. We all started laughing. I was like, "Oh shit, this is the clip that's going on social media." So I literally, I was really impressed with myself. It took me about 15 minutes in the morning before I came to work, and I grabbed the video and I grabbed the audio that I'd already edited for the podcast, and clipped them, cut them, put them together, did everything I needed to do in about 15 minutes, and I was like, oh my God, I might be getting better at this.
I'm a genius.
It's like, oh my God, I did something with video in less than 3 hours. Like, that's really good. But, this whole process with the podcast, because there's so many things I should be doing that I'm not. The fact that we are as far with listeners and everything as we are right now, I'm pretty impressed with myself. Because I have slacked so much. And I don't even want to say slacked. I run out of time.
Yeah.
I go home and I'm like, oh, I'm going to edit this video today. And I get on there and I fucking pass out on the couch because I've been working all day, you know? And then I wake up and I'm like, well, fuck, I got maybe time 2 days from now. And it's like, But, it's been fun. I really enjoy it. I get a lot of feedback on social media from people that enjoy the show. We have one of the people that I talk to quite a bit. She's just getting into this world, so she's a wrench, and she works at a shop, and she does a lot of I don't know the word. Her posts, not promotional, but like uplifting posts about I've tried so hard to get here, and I'm so glad to be here, and things like that.
Yeah.
She's on Instagram. I think it's Thrashizilla is her name or something like that. She does some cool shit though, and I'd kind of reached out to her a couple times. I was like, hey, I know you're new in the business and you're working in an aftermarket shop. If you ever need help, contact us. You know what I mean? Because we do have quite a bit of experience when it comes to that. And she's been very thankful about that. And she, when I post something about an episode, she's the first to be like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to get her on the on one of these
get her on.
episodes. and I'd have to look it up. But the guy we interviewed tonight, Rohitesh, I'd like everybody to go out and follow him.
I'm gonna.
At 25 years old, I think he's Rohitesh Motorsports on Instagram. I'll put it all in the description and stuff. But he's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's somebody that I think everybody needs to keep an eye on, because I think in a few more years he's going to be affecting more than just the little area he's in. And I believe that
the cultural difference really strikes me. It's really interesting. I watch a lot of Formula One, and he sounds like anyone who's in Formula One, European sports style.
Yeah.
Very well groomed, well mannered, speaks really well, understands every element of the sport, the commitment it takes, etc. I'm sure this guy trains. He's got to.
Oh yeah, well, to be a professional, you have to be a professional. It sounds dumb.
It's not easy.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want to be a professional freestyle rider, for example, then that is the life you live, and everyone you encounter and everything you do.
That whole cultural difference really impressed me about hearing what he had to say.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Insurance.
Yeah, you what?
You better have health insurance.
Yeah. Move that fucking microphone closer to your goddamn
You
mouth.
better have health insurance.
There you go. Fuck. I swear as time goes on, he just keeps sliding it further and further from him and yelling at it. Hey,
It's
you
so
motherfuckers!
It's so round. I just don't want it near my face.
Yeah, I know. You might deep throat it. Calm down.
What you prepping there, Mike?
I'm trying to find, how do you spell his name?
Who? Rohitesh?
Yeah.
Rohitesh.
You're so full
thought it
of
was
shit.
AT.
You don't know how to
Yeah, it's
spell it.
Rohitesh
Okay,
underscore
yeah, I see it.
motorsports.
Yeah, Rohitesh Motorsports.
Yeah. And like I said, he's doing a lot of cool stuff. So he was out filming a commercial the other day and made some social media posts
I
about
don't see how
what he
India
was
is
doing.
not just huge in this.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everybody there rides friggin' motorcycles. You look at their traffic cams, it's like
Yeah,
everybody's riding bikes.
Well, that's like where's Thailand?
Yeah.
Same way.
Yeah, same
and
way.
them motherfuckers are nuts. Like they don't even have street lights and shit.
Dude,
Like,
no
they
lanes.
all go
Yep.
through intersections at the same fucking time.
like
and I have watched
I'm
that
next.
shit. Like, oh yeah, I would die. I would fucking die. I would be stressed out.
It's
I would
like
be
Franklin.
like, oh yeah. Well, fuck, I ain't got shit on Franklin, but
Franklin's pretty bad.
You want to know what else is cool about Rohitesh is doing? It's not because he's surrounded by 5 other bros that think it's cool and he got roped in.
Fun.
Yeah, he's doing it.
He went, dude, that's something I want to do.
Yeah.
Bam,
Yeah.
went out and did it.
Yeah.
It's not because he was surrounded by a culture or surrounded by people that said, man, you need to do this. He went out
here
on his
it's
own.
easy.
And he
Anybody
took-
could buy a
he-
sport bike.
Yeah,
you know?
he took something
there's 10
that
people to go
definitely
ride.
wasn't made to do what it's doing.
Yeah.
and is doing it.
Yeah, I'd like to. I want to ride one of these Apache RTRs now.
shit.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
the good news is you can dump it off and get it for like 50 rubles or whatever they got out there. It doesn't matter, man. Put it in
Yeah.
a ditch and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm done, man.
yeah, I mean, here, shit, I ride an 883 and I get made fun of for it. You know what I mean?
I don't make fun of
And the biggest bike this guy's got's a 675. You know,
You're
or
killing
had.
that thing, man.
So yeah, and
Literally, you're
I
fucking
love.
killing that thing.
I love when people talk shit about 883s. I saw a guy the other day.
It's 883.
They were.
I mean,
they
that's-
said something about.
that-
It was a meme, and it was like a father and son, and it said, "Oh, Dad, I got a Harley," and he's like, "Oh yeah, what'd you get?" And he's like, "Oh, I got an 883 Sportster," and he's like, "I always knew you were gay," and I was like.
Oh, hell no.
And I went in, and I was so close to commenting, "Come ride with me on my 83, and I'll show you who's fucking gay."
Doors off,
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. It might not be fast, but I don't need to be that fast to lose your ass.
Get on your
You know what I mean? Because when it's all said and done, when you're out on the road, you can't open up 120 and run for very long, anyways.
No.
So
That's
in the
what I
end,
said. Quick
up to-
versus
yeah,
fast.
up to 100 miles an hour is about all you
Quick.
really need
You got
to get
torque.
around and race. Now, if I wanted to race from here to my house, about 107. And when it comes to in and out of traffic and turns and things like that, I can make up that difference. That the 10 or so miles on the road, you can do 10 miles an hour faster than me. You know what I mean? So in the end, I to this day, that's why I haven't done a 1200 kit, because
You should.
I should. I want to. You don't even know. Yeah, I want to so bad. I want more
I know
power.
This place
But at the
that you
same
can get
time,
that shit hooked
that-
right on up.
That bike actually has just enough power to do everything I want.
You know what?
It sounds bad, but it does.
And I hear your bike coming around that fucking corner.
Yeah.
I know that you're happy.
Yeah. I love it. Well, check us out, talkingbrab.com. Until the next time. That's it. Deuces.